Hey everyone, welcome to Tuesday night chiropractic conference call, sponsored by DE and sponsored by many brothers around the world. Um, Tonight we got a special guest from Key West, Florida. A lot of us really did a lot of praying for this girl when the hurricane came her way, and we prayed her strap, and she's on the other side of it. Um, Before we get to Liz, I'm going to make sure everybody remembers that January 12th to the 15th is DE in Clearwater, Florida, Clearwater Beach, Florida. So if you aren't signed up yet, sign up soon, sign up now, commit yourself and going. It's a beautiful place, different hotel right along the beach. I can't wait to get down there to see everybody, my brothers and sisters. So again, sign up early, sign up often, bring a friend. So again, our speaker tonight is Liz Morin from Key West, Florida. She's been in practice for 11 years. She graduated from Palmer, Florida. Grew up in Connecticut. And there seems to be something in the air in Connecticut that makes everybody become a principal chiropractor. Now she's practicing in Key West, Florida. She said she went to her first D when we celebrated the 50th year anniversary in 2014. And then she didn't make it back till after the shutdowns, and the shutdowns kind of motivated her to get back to her tribe. And so I'm letting, without further ado, let's hear it for Liz Morin. Take it over.
Hello. I hope everybody's good. If there's one person listening or if there's 10 or 15, I hope you're all good. I hope you can hear me better than I just heard Andy. He sounded like an alien in a spaceship. Uh, yeah, so not sure what that was, but yes, I'm in Key West, beautiful Key West, where it's still 90 flipping degrees, which is crazy. And we're all over that, but it's still beautiful and worth it. And I have been in practice roughly 11 years, just celebrated that. Yes, DE has helped me a whole lot. I do believe I should speak about what DE's done for me, as this is what it's all about. As a younger doc, I was thinking, oh, they talk about this DE thing. They talk about this seminar I'm supposed to go to and dedicate so much time to and travel. And, some people think, oh, that's just that crowd, But I'm glad I found that crowd. If I hadn't spent some time in Palm Beach County and met Dr. Matlock and Eddie Martinez, Dr. Martinez, and all the South Florida docs who took me under their wing, and basically made me go to my first DE, which was a very eye-opening experience for me. I was a little scared, literally scared, and it was like, what the hell is happening with these people? Whoa. But I knew I had to get back to it, and I hadn't, I took a big hiatus in my DEs. So I'm glad I got back during the shutdowns. It was the one where Dr. Steve said something like, don't take pictures, don't video us this time because your patients are going to think you're, going to go home and infect them. So quite a strange time to be all together, but it was a powerful time to be all together because what a crazy freaking time that was, right? I have since been to more DEs. So I kind of feel like maybe 5 to 6 DEs is like the magic sauce to like really get you spizzed, spizzerinctum, because I gotta be honest, I really hated that word husk. That word to me sounded like meatloaf or something gross like that, like a word that you just don't like. I'm like, what is this husk thing? So I used to literally get up and walk out during the Parade of Stars because I did not understand what it was, why we were doing it. I clapped, I celebrated people, but I'm like, clearly I need to be doing this because I am adverse to it. And that seems to be a trend. I'm glad that I stuck around for Parade of Stars this last DE in Atlanta in October. I was shaking like a leaf, but Marilyn or Paula called me up and I took the microphone and was like, and this is where I fall apart. So I spoke about my last year, which was a year of loss. The theme was loss for me, hence the word husk and shedding a husk. Maybe it's all connected. In a year's time, I lost all 3 of my grandparents and my mother-in-law just recently, 2 months ago, and I didn't get it. And I'm like, why am I the bearer of all this pain? But as I stood up there with the microphone in front of whoever was willing to listen to me cry, thank you, I cried. And then my whole body felt completely different. My whole body felt energized, cold, my hands were shaking. And then I just kind of like fell into people's arms walking back to my chair. I also mentioned about the patient who took his own life via shotgun as well and left two beautiful children who are my patients, and I adjusted them the days they were born. So I was highly involved with that family. So it was like a year of loss, and I said, what the hell? Why is this all happening to one person? Well, every single person's been through some hell these last couple of years. You can't sit down at the grocery store. Or who sits at the grocery store? We do here at Winn-Dixie, eat fried chicken and stuff at the grocery store. You can't sit down on a park bench or on an airplane or on a bus or at church and look to either way and see someone on either side who can say, I have been through some hell these last couple of years. So it's just all around us. But that's where these DE principles come into play. We are their rock. As their principal family chiropractors, we are their rock. So the mental health game and taking care of you and all these guys really inspiring me these last couple of years, going on their walks in the morning, Dr. Jeff and Dr. Steve, and shedding the weight and looking good. And I'm like, man, I think I got to be part of the boys club. Maybe they'll let me in. But I'm always working on myself. You can ask my fiance. I drive him crazy. But this past DE, after that time I finally spoke and took the microphone, something changed. I came home that Monday quieter. And this thing's always going. If anyone knows me, it's always going. It never stops. And that is my Achilles heel. I came home kinder. One of the worst things I do is I interrupt people excessively. It's part of my brain. And I have been a little better at that. And I even can feel that. I've had more powerful, connective conversations with people around me, including my spouse, which is like the absolute best thing in the world. And I've been kinder. Like I have caught myself calling people honey and sweetie and love, like since I've been home from DE. And I'm like, who the heck am I? I don't talk like that. I'm all business. Something was shed. So here's that word that I really can't stand again, husk. Well, I'm going to like the word husk now because talking to that microphone and weeping, literally weeping in front of a bunch of people that I know and many that I don't know, it changed me. So this rock hard person I've always been, the tough one, the one that's always there for everyone else, I'm taking my chance to finally be a human and feel. And we all need to do that too. We need to feel the feels and then move on. And I've cried more times in the last 3 weeks than I've cried in a long, long time. I think I'm finally grieving my mother at this point too, possibly. I've opened up enough that I could do that. And that's going to help change me. So maybe the magic number is 5 DEs. I think I've been to 5 now. It might be 6. And I'll be there in January. I'm probably going to drive up. But we as DE docs need to be examples for our community, our patients, our family, our kids. I have 2 beautiful bonus children. They're 15 and 16. I make them nuts, crazy. I make them crazy, but I love them with all my heart. And I got to be better every day for them, for my patients, for my family. I wanted to share the story about my mom's last adjustment. And with me, it was actually her first adjustment. When my mom was, hopefully you guys can hear me, and if you couldn't, I hope you would let me know. My mom died on March 25th, 2017, and it sucked. And I flew up to Connecticut because we knew she was on her way out. COPD was the verdict, but she had an addiction, and she was very weak and frail. And we spent a whole night in her room just listening to her gasp for air and trying to get. We were hoping she would go soon because watching someone die is very uncomfortable, which I'm sure all of us have seen this. And the next day comes and she's still in bed, not breathing as hard, and she got really quiet, and she hadn't spoken in probably like 10, 12 hours at this point. And this is very foggy because anyone who's helped someone transition knows there's a lot of fog, but I'm sure my sisters could correct me. But anyway, many hours passed and she spoke a word. We thought maybe it was a coma. She started having morphine at this point. We'd administered morphine to help her go, which as a principal chiropractor, that's strange, but like it was legit. We needed to do this. So she hadn't spoken or moved from the supine position in probably 12 hours at this point. We started to have the priests come over. My father's priest came. My mother's pastor came. It was me and my sisters and my brother-in-law in the room. And I'm just like, what do we do? This is just awkward. And I'm like, what's one thing that I know how to do really well? I'm like, one's make people laugh. Yeah, for sure. Totally. And then I'm like, I know how to check an atlas, and I know how to make sure an atlas is clear of subluxation so someone can express vitality in life. So I felt like this is going to look so strange. The two priests in the room, my father, my sisters, my brother-in-law, are going to think, who does she think she is? Why is she doing this? This is freaking stupid. Does she think she's going to bring her back to life or some shit, right? Part of my language. And I'm like, you know what? God was working through me, I guess. I walked up to my mom, sat behind her, propped her up in my lap, kind of looks just like where I'm sitting right now on my bed because my house is chaotic. I got to hide in my room right now. She was comatose, like she hadn't moved, like she was just like, eh. And I had an activator, which I don't typically use on the Atlas, but it's the best way to move a bone in someone that is dying. Maybe. Anyway, I found her Atlas subluxation, and it was so off. And I'm like, who knows what's going to happen? And people were just talking in the room. They didn't really know what I was doing. My sisters probably did. And I gently tapped her Atlas. And I don't know if it was 5 minutes, 5 seconds. Again, it's really foggy because this stuff's painful. But she freaking shot up out of the supine position, even used her elbow, pushed herself up, and she just goes, what are you all doing here? And like 2 people from the church, different churches. My father, my sisters, myself, my brother-in-law, I believe, was in the room. My grandmother was in and out. And she made us laugh. And that's what she was all about. We knew she was a goofball. This woman was, even though she drove me nuts too, always made me smile, typically, and very funny and lighthearted, and that's probably where I get it from. And she literally sat up bewildered and goes, why are you all here? And we're like, Mom, it's time to go. Like, go ahead. Everything's great. Go ahead. Both your priests have given you your last rites. It's okay to go. And we were just like, what? And the actual heck just happened. But that did happen. And it was a really cool experience that I got to, number one, hear her voice again and hear her laugh. She made me laugh, and she made my whole family laugh. We were like, what just happened? So the majority of people in the room didn't even know I was a chiropractor, didn't know what a gentle adjustment of the brainstem area can do. They saw the effect, but they probably were like, what's this? They may never know. But then I believe she laid back down very shortly after, and she died later that night. I'm almost certain, at 6:13 p.m. But I don't know if it was that day or the next day, because it was a long 2 days. And I'm only sharing that because in a time when we were all filled with sorrow and just pain, like you're in pain when you're waiting for someone to die, like everything hurts because you don't sleep. Like it was just, wow, she did it one more time. She freaking made us just roar out in laughter. Like, that is my mom. That's my jam. I am her, the parts of her that I want to be. The next thing I just want to bring up is, this is going to be pretty quick. I think I'm pretty much done. I shed some husks. I've been more vulnerable. It happened at DE in front of people, and I never wanted to do it, but I'm glad I did. And then last week, I listened to Dr. Josh's broadcast like this, and he said something about, it was confidence. The word confidence came up or something like that. And I have felt a lot more confident in my delivery of my checkup and adjustment with my patients, both new and people who've known me for 10 years. So it's a beautiful thing to come home and just be like, this is how it's going to go. You're going to put your arm behind your back. You're going to turn your head. I'm going to see if you're subluxated. We're going to clear out your nerve system. Even my verbiage has changed. So clearly, if anyone's on this call who doesn't go to DE or they're on the fence, it will build your certainty. It will build a lot of things. Oh, I love you too, Kim. It will build a lot of things for you that you may not have even known you had. Like, I didn't think I was capable of being vulnerable. I've always had to be the tough one. So, thanks, Paul. I've been crying a lot. Good thing my eyelashes are fake and I don't have to worry about mascara. So he said the word confidence, and that inspired me to say, the original reason why I became a chiropractor isn't that great. I wanted to prove to people that I could be a doctor or be something bigger, but I knew I didn't want to be a medical doctor because they're like the first or second leading cause of death, okay? I did not want to be a medical doctor, and also because my mother had an addiction problem to pills. So I was very inspired to help people, but I will never prescribe a drug. In fact, I've never taken a painkiller. And so my original reason to become a chiropractor was I want to be a doctor, but I don't want to be a medical doctor. And then I found chiropractic, and it truly saved my health. When I was around 18 or 19, I never had a migraine again. I never had any more sinus infections. I was like, this is freaking cool. Let's do this. Let's go. Woo. But my original reason to become a doctor of chiropractic was because I hated medicine. And that's not a good reason to become anything. And something that Josh said last week, I like wrote it down, but it's in my phone and I don't want to be distracted. It's now flipped, and I know now because of the DE family and the principles that it's about my love of life. I am a chiropractor because I love life, and I feel that all human beings deserve to express life to their fullest potential, their God-given innate potential. And a lot of us are subluxated above the atlas, myself included. I'm working on my mental health every day, and you guys inspire me. So thank you for holding me accountable. But it's like I realized, oh my God, I started off with inspiration to become this chiropractor because I just hated the pharmaceutical industry so much because it's taken so many people away from me that I love, my mother included. I'm fully convinced in my heart that she died early because of the weakness created by the addiction. But now I'm like, no, it's because you love life. You love life. You love checking newborn babies. You love showing people that they are the truth. And if everything's clear from above, down, and inside out, they do not need to rely on an outside source for anything. In most situations, the body can heal itself if it's clear of interference. And that includes your brain, and that includes your mental health. And I've never admitted to most people, but yes, I was diagnosed with ADHD, whatever. You can tell that, right? But depression, anxiety, and PTSD in 2018. And they asked me if I wanted to start medications and see a psychologist. And I said no. I said, I've gotten this far without it. I'm not going to start now. So sometimes I might drive my family crazy. All the time, my sisters, I'm sure, and my fiance, but I'm in it for a good reason, and I am the way I am because I'm passionate about our profession, and I do want to see us grow, and I want to see more principled chiropractors. We don't want to see more of these back pain doctors. Those are on every corner. We've got to tell the truth. Yes, chiropractic is fabulous at helping your back pain, but the real reason I have you here in my office, and you can take it or leave it, because some people will leave it, is I want to check your nerve system, because with a clear nerve system, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable, and then God or whatever you believe in is working through you, and you can raise your children with this philosophy. You can raise your children with this philosophy that they're independent and powerful without the use of an outside substance, like a chemical or a drug or a vaccine. Hope I don't get kicked off this podcast or whatever the hell this is by saying the V word. Sorry. And then I educate people lately with the help of Dr. Steve's books, and I'm saying we're not a threat per se, but the industry doesn't want to send you to us, and the medical industry tells people not to see a chiropractor because they don't want you to know how freaking powerful you are. So I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about, and I really hope that you appreciate my messy hair, because it was one of those days and the internet went out and the phone's at work, and so it was just like, oh, you're coming in, oh great, cool, okay, yeah. And I'm closed the rest of the week because I'm traveling. So today was an SHIT show. But we got through it. I have a wonderful office manager who helped me get through it. And you guys helped me find her too, DE. So I think I'm done, Andy. Namaste.
That was beautiful, girl. You know, I remember so well you getting up and speaking at the Parade of Stars, and I think a lot of times people think it's weakness when you cry and when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, but I think that's the biggest strength you can ever achieve, is allowing yourself to be humble, aware, and obedient, and just being vulnerable to say, hey, here's my heart, and open it up to a bunch of people who love you and love you through it. And you did a fantastic job, and a fantastic job tonight, and I'm sure there are people out there who needed to hear just that are ready to open up their hearts and let love in. You know, that was beautiful. Sorry for your losses, but sounds like those losses are going to be some gains for the community of Palm West whatever, Palm Beach. I'm sorry, West Palm Beach.
We're in Key West now.
Key West. I'm sorry, Kansas guy. So no, I love and appreciate you. Did a great job, and I just can't thank you enough for stepping up and doing what you did and opening your heart. That was beautiful. Thank you.
That was fun. Thank you very much, Andy.
Everybody have a great night, and we will see you next Tuesday night. Let's have a great one and go serve tomorrow. Love you all.